So let's start with para 1, and this is the passage given. So we are starting with this passage. Landing in Australia, the British colonists weren't much impressed with small-bodied, slender-snouted marsupials called bandicoots. Their muzzle, which is much too long, gives them an air exceedingly stupid one naturalist noted in 1805. They nicknamed one type like zebra red because of its black striped rump. So now you can understand from first three lines that we are talking about some animal, and British colonists who went to Australia, they weren't much impressed with this. Means they were not so happy to see these kind of animals. So what was the characteristics of this animal? Silly looking or not? Zebra red, smallest bandicoot, or more commonly known today as western bear bandicoot, exhibited a genius for survival in the harsh outback. Okay, what was this genius? Where his ancestors had persisted for some 26 million years ago. Birds were triggered by rainfall in bone dry desert. It carried its bred mint-sized babies in a backward-facing pouch so mothers could forage food and dig shallow camouflaged shelters. Okay, so the introduction is about these animals found on the land of Australia, how they looked given in last line, and basically in initial first two lines of second para. Then we are talking about birth, how they go, how they were born, and they have some genius for survival. Okay, and they dig shallow camouflage shelters, so they are able to survive for 26 million years. Now coming to paragraph number 3, still these adaptations did not prepare Western bear bandicoot from colonial era transformation of its ecosystem. So what is this transformation? Was onslaught of British imported British animals. So what are these animals? From cattle, rabbits, damaged delicate desert vegetation, to ravenous house cats, okay, that soon developed a taste for bandicoots, means who wanted to actually eat the bandicoots. Several of the dozen odd bandicoot species went extinct by 1940s. The western beard bandicoots, whose original range stretched across much of the continent, persisted only on two predator-free islands in Shark Bay off Australian coast. So we are moving on the next paragraph. Our isolated fauna had simply not been exposed to these predators, says Reese Pedler, an ecologist with the Wild Deserts Conservation Program. So what happens when now Wild Deserts is using descendants of those few thousand island survivors called Shark Bay Bandicoots in a new effort to see the mainland bandicoot revival. They have imported 20 bandicoots to preserve on the edge of Strelitzky Desert in the remote interior of New South Wales. This sanctuary is a challenging place, desolate much of the year with one of the world's most mercurial rainfall patterns, relentless droughts followed by sudden drenching floods. So we can see in this paragraph, actually, we are talking about how their preservation is done. We are trying to save their species. Now, what happens? The imported bandicoots, they have occupied two fence enclosures. Okay, and these enclosures cleared off invasive rabbits. Okay, courtesy for peddler sheepdog, of feral cats, and which slunk off once the rabbits had disappeared. A third fence area contains program wild training zone, where two other rare marsupials, bilbies, a large type of bandicoot, and mulgars, a somewhat fearsome fuzzball known for sucking the brains out of prey, currently share terrain with controlled number of cats. Now, what happens when you put them in two front enclosures? The author is giving you what other things are present in those enclosures. Okay. Now, in last line, he is saying it is unclear whether shark-bay bandicoots, which are perhaps even more predator than naive than their now ex-mainland bandicoot kin, will be able to make that kind of breakthrough. For now, though, a recent surge of rainfall has led to bandicoot joy boom, raising the wild desert's population to about 100, with other sanctuaries adding to that number. There are also signs of rebirth in the landscape itself. With their constant digging and bandicoots trap moisture, allow for seed germination so that cattle damaged deserts can restore itself. Okay, so now they have been given a new unique name. We call them ecosystem engineers. So you can see from the last two paragraphs, it is clear that these bandicoots are important for the ecosystem. So that's why we have named them ecosystem engineers. Coming to the first question. See, what we have read in the passage is about bandicoots, right? And when I talk about these creatures, the creatures are basically uh, something who survived a long journey in spite of changes in ecosystem and desert ecosystem. So the first question says, according to the text, the western beard bandicoots now have a flattering name because they have done what? The flattering name, right? So you can see from the passage, the penultimate paragraphs, they have a nickname, a flattering one, which is asked in the question here. Flattering name, ecosystem engineers. Why? See the last line. Constant digging, trap moisture, allow for seed germination, so the cattle damaged desert can restore itself. Okay, so grown fivefold in terms of population, no. Led a revival in preserving species, no. Yes, added in altering arid environment. So you can take this directly. Led to a surge and increase of rainfall, no, it's not mentioned. Fine, let's come to the next question. Question number 5. Which of the following option does not represent the characteristics of western bear bandicoot? So for this particular question, paragraph number 1 and 2, as we have seen while reading the passage, gave you all the characteristics of bandicoots. Okay, so first is look of a rat but with a baby pouch and a slender snout. Now, it is there. Does not represent. Okay, the question is asking you, does not represent the characteristics. So, as you see from para 1 line, one British colonist went much impressed. They were small bodied. Yes, small bodied. Okay. Slender snooted marsupials called bandicoots. One noted nickname zebra red. So, look of a red. Baby pouch and slender snout. So, you can see because of its black striped rump. So, this is black stripe dumped. Okay. Silly looking or not, zebra red smallest bandicoot, most common today is western bear bandicoot, exhibits genius for survival. Has this time its birth were triggered by rainfall. It carried breath mint-sized babies in a backward facing pouch. So pouch for juice. Yes, it is also given. It is also given elongated muzzle and dig shallow. So shallow diggers, yeah, this is dig shallow. It is also mentioned having an elongated muzzle. So if you go for the passage, it is given here. Too long muzzle. Yes, look, line number 2. So all the things I've mentioned. Now, fourth one, smallest black striped. So when I talk about this smallest, you have a black striped rump and smallest black striped marsupial that uses camouflage and dig. So camouflage that shelters, not dig. So you can eliminate this because everything is given and they are asking you do not represent. So your answer becomes option number 4. That is do not represent. So your answer becomes option number 4. Next. The text uses the word enclosures because wild desert has adopted a measure of. Okay, so the text is using the word enclosures. What is this enclosures? See, I have taken this text from the passage only. The imported bandicoots occupy two fenced enclosures cleared of invasive rabbits, courtesy of peddler's sheepdog. So when they were preserving them, there were two-fold enclosures. So it was just bearing the entry of invasive species. Yeah, I can take it. Why? Because in first line they have given invasive rabbits, sheepdog of feral cats, slunk off once the rabbits are disappeared. Third fenced area, wild training zone, two rare marsupials were there. Okay, and you can see next you talk about number of cats who evade. So bearing the entry of invasive, it is give mention ridding the main desert of feral cats and large bilbies. So only feral cats and large bilbies are not mentioned, excluding animals to make the island predator free. This is too far-fetched, so I have to eliminate 2 and 3. Restoring cattle damaged deserts to green landscape. This is a characteristic of bandicoot which is mentioned in how they are preserving environment. It is not about the term enclosures. So we have to eliminate this one. So our answer becomes option number 4. Next one. In question number 7, they are asking you gist of this passage. Okay, so gist is the main idea or the central idea. So what is the main idea of this particular passage? So the main idea of this passage is the survival and conservation efforts of the western winged bandicoots, a species nearly driven to extinction by introduced predators during colonial times. So what happened? This species survived. After so many dips, ups and downs, this species survived. This is the main point here. Okay, and they have unique adaptation techniques, and there were humans also who actually helped in their preservation. But they themselves got this environment engineers being called, they themselves got this technique of survival, right? So when I talk about first one, negligent attitude of British colonists, so this attitude is not mentioned and names given to them led to their annihilation. No, no, no. The attitude is not mentioned first of all, and evidence by the names given to them led to their destruction or annihilation. No, this is not mentioned. Okay, the species was not destroyed because of the name given to them. It was destroyed by other animals and various factors. A type of bandicoots were nearly wiped out, but invasive species, but rescuers now pin hopes on a remnant island population. See, a type of bandicoots were nearly wiped out by invasive species. But now they are hoping. So I cannot say that they were nearly wiped out totally. Okay. So yeah, the second part I can take now pins hope because you have a remnant population. So it was a near wiped out, yes, because at times there were very few in number, so I can keep it. I'm not eliminating it directly, right? Come to the third one. Marsupials are going extinct due to colonial era transformation of the ecosystem, which also destroyed natural vegetation. So now they are not going extinct. We are talking about preservation in the passage. Okay, so we cannot use the term that they are extreme term here for bandicoots or the marsupials going extinct. Due to this transformation, their ecosystem was disturbed, but not totally extinct. So I can eliminate this one directly. The onslaught of animals, cattle, rabbits, house cats brought in by British led to extinction of western beard bandicoots. Now what happens? This is not correct as per the facts given in the passage, because the passage is saying that these were hunted down by these animals and their destruction of the ecosystem or the place or island. So we have to eliminate this and we have to take option number 2 as the main idea. Why so? You can take it nearly wiped out thing by invasive species, but rescuers now pin hope on remnant island population. Yeah, because hopefully they are preserving something. So out of the 4 options which matches with our central idea, we have only 1 point. That is option number 2. Okay,